Welcome to Leaders Arise with Joyful Julie. Join us as we explore life-changing, freedom-releasing biblical truths to empower leaders and patriots to reach their full potential, cancel out fraudulent beliefs, and increase in influence and financial success. Let's get started. Hi, Leaders Arise. It is Julie. It is about 1 week before the election, 1 week and 1 day. And I just felt compelled to come on and share from my heart. And I share this as someone who comes from very humble roots. Grew up in a very small town. Most of you know my story. Have spent years of my life spreading the gospel, teaching Bible classes, Sunday schools, youth groups, educating people on the Bible, helping people to grow in their spiritual walk. And during that time, I've been able to travel internationally, and which really broadened my perspective on how I see the world and the battle between good and evil. And there is a battle going on for the heart and soul of our country. And the choices that we make in the next 8 days will determine a course of action that will drastically affect what our future looks like. And I wanted to share a few facts that some of you may not know. So this podcast is called Did You Know? And did you know this border fact that a number of presidents have promised to build a border wall? But Trump actually built more border wall than he promised and had the materials ready and waiting, already bought, but not yet installed at the border when Biden took office. We had the lowest illegal immigration in our country when Trump left office because he built that wall and created the Wait in Mexico policy, which meant that people couldn't come in until we were ready to process them. And when Biden took office, the first thing that he and Kamala Harris did was to strike down Wait in Mexico. Now, this was done very quietly. So if you aren't a person who pays attention to politics, you probably didn't know that. If you're still watching mainstream media, you probably didn't know that the cartels are making a huge profit by illegals paying them to make the journey from their foreign country into the United States. And that's putting money in the hands of drug cartels. There are American NGOs that actually create water stations and food stations and busing them into the interior of our country, planes taking them from their foreign country into the middle of our country on purpose. Our taxes are being used to fill our country with illegals, and you're paying for it. The people who are taking our jobs, the people who are taking the resources out of our veterans' hands, the people that are here illegally are being paid their hotel rooms, their new phones, their gift cards for food and other supplies. And all of this is a really big problem that we did not have to have. It is on purpose. It is not an accident that they're being bussed into states that are swing states. That is not an accident. It is being done on purpose to affect our elections, to affect and disrupt our states, our schools, our healthcare. The fight is on. Now, for those of you who have questions about this, you can go on RAV TV, Real America's Voice TV, and you can find a show called Law and Border with Ben Berquam. And he actually documents the path through Panama that the illegals are taking. He's literally showing the video footage of them making holes in the border wall, them being allowed in, and he's also showing where they're actually being housed on the taxpayer dime. So it's not something that I'm just making up, but if you're still listening to the mainstream media, they're not showing you the facts. And I encourage you to go find Law and Border with Ben Berquam. Another thing that is very interesting to know that I just learned about is that we have enemies who are trying to take down America. And one of the ways that they have in their plans is to release EMPs in major centers and portions of the country of America. This could possibly knock out the entire electrical grid of America. And I did not know that the transformers that this electrical grid runs on used to be made in America, and now they're made in other countries. They're very specific and they take a long time to build. They estimate that to repopulate the electrical grid would take 7 years. Now, another thing that I did not know was that President Trump, while he was president, issued an executive order for all agencies of the government to work together to come up with plans and implement them to protect the American people and our energy grid from EMP attacks. Now, that sounds like a really great thing for a president to do, protecting the United States of America and our people. This was shared on a recent podcast with Tucker Carlson, with a former CIA employee named Amaryllis Kennedy. She has a wide and varied range of life experience, and the details that she had about what has happened in our government, and that this executive order was stopped by President Biden and Vice President Harris, which leaves us open to EMP attacks in our country. Now, can you tell me why a president would do that? I encourage you to go find the Tucker Carlson network on TV, Rumble, X, Telegram. You won't find it on mainstream media because he's been censored. He was fired and taken off of Fox because of the stories and the truth that he was trying to get out. So the last thing I'd like to talk about today is censorship. Just as I mentioned, people like Tucker, President Trump, John Solomon, who had a wonderful program and many journalistic stories that broke big stories of truth, were taken off of their networks because they refused to stop telling the truth. There were people who have been censored and put in jail, like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon, when no person who worked for the President of the United States has ever been jailed for declaring executive privilege. The censorship that is happening in America has caused many people to be deceived. So I'm encouraging you to go find rumble.com. I'm encouraging you to go find an app called Telegram. I'm encouraging you to read, watch, follow Real America's Voice. I'm encouraging you to listen to some of the shows that Joe Rogan has had. I'm encouraging you to go find why Tulsi Gabbard and Robert Kennedy and even Dr. Phil are now embracing President Trump, because the censorship has gotten out of control. You are not seeing the stories and the actual video coverage that a show called Cowboy Logic has shown, the real J6 videos, the ones that show police officers taking down gates and inviting people into the Capitol with their flags. You have not seen the stories that highlight that is an estimated 200 federal employees who were involved from the CIA and other organizations to make J6 look like an insurrection. You are not seeing the patriots who are rising up and resounding the call if you are not on alternative media, because it is being censored. And why is it being censored? Because tyranny has come to the Department of Justice. Tyranny has come through illegal means. And who does this? Marxists do this to create division in a country and take down good leaders with lies and slander. I encourage you to research the 12 strategies of Marxism. And you can go to brainwashedthemovie.com and see it for yourself. And it will not take you very long into the movie before you begin to realize that we have been under attack for 4 years. I'd like to end this very serious podcast by proclaiming that I believe that it is our duty to defend our families, to defend our faith, and to defend the United States of America from attack, from external and within. I believe it is our sacred duty, as God created this nation, one nation under God. He created this nation, and it has been the force for more good than any other nation in history. And it can be great again if we will rise up in the next 8 days and do our part. One of the founding fathers said that every government degenerates, that means falls into disrepair, when trusted to the rulers of the people alone. That means that we cannot delegate the leadership of our country to others and then just look away, focus on our own fun, focus on our own comfort, and not be involved in the accountability and involvement in participating in our government of our cities, schools, communities, and nation. The quote continues, "The people themselves, therefore, are the only safe depositories." We, the people, are the only way that our nation will continue to be one nation under God. I think it is crucial to follow the wise advice of Elon Musk that said that our Second Amendment, our right to bear arms, is what will protect and defend our First Amendment, the right to freedom of the press. If we want to live in a free society, we must take action now. I encourage you, everyone, to pray. But prayer and faith without works, without action behind it, is dead, according to the Apostle Paul. And so I encourage you to go, therefore, into all the world. And when it says to teach them what I have taught you, what Jesus said, is that we will not be able to go into all of the world and openly teach the gospel, the good news of the kingdom, if we allow our country to fall. And so I'm asking you today to pray, to vote, and to bring as many with you up until Election Day, that God may bless the words that we speak and the work of our hands as we fight to save this great nation. Thank you so much. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. And may she remain a light that my children and my grandchildren, your children and your grandchildren, may live in the same freedom and prosperity that we have enjoyed. Have a wonderful day and fight, fight, fight. Thank you for listening to this episode of Leaders Arise. For more information about my newsletter, speaking events, and coaching services, see newlifefortoday.com.